Hello and welcome to Wyll 60. This is going to be the 15th installment of the sessions that I've been doing primarily on Twitch. The remaining of the sessions will be done purely for YouTube. And the reason for that is that this is no longer an honorable run. This is a dishonorable run. And I made the decision to complete the run series just to give whoever's interested still though in following what a no consumables run look like when completed in honor mode, or well, with the honor mode rule set rather, this will still be possible. The idea is to go and tackle the various challenges and complete the game by killing the Netherbrain, although accepting that the run did end while fighting Orin in what was, in my opinion, my own silly mistake. And then you can, if you go to the last episode, you can see how I then end up redoing the encounter with the same character after the death. So just to see, even when things go slightly wrong, they still go pretty well for Wyll in this case, with all of the stuff including in the rule set, only excluding stuff like healing potions, scrolls, and all of the consumables you can use. And now today we're going to be dealing with Raphael in the House of Hope. So I hope that is going to go very well. All right, let us proceed to fight Raphael.
Heading out.
First off, we do need to go and deal with the various minor quest objectives inside of the House of Hope, obviously. And it is going to be a chance to refresh the various things that we can do at the faucet. Going to quickly go and see if we're able to use the Mind Sanctuary without the long rest, which the faucet in principle doesn't give us. And if that's the case, I do need to go and commit to a long rest before proceeding with the fight. So we're going to go to the Boudoir first. Click the faucet and we're going to see if the Mind Sanctuary resets, which it does. Fine. Let's buff up the crew. So we are actually going to use a different set of things for the final fight. So right now this is just going to be like a temporary buff for the party here. And then the faucets are going to keep on working until the moment that we actually kill Raphael. So this does enable all of the many things here, the ghouls, anything else that you can use your volatile shield. The volatile shield, of course, is a very, I mean, this cannot be overstated how strong the volatile shield is. It is, in fact, one of the best illithid powers of all of them. The 1 second stun is absolutely absolutely crazy. Right, so let's quickly go and do the harlot thing here.
Why are you here?
So I'm just going to kill him straight up. No questions asked. Just need this bit over with. Earth Elemental is not going to be my my elemental of choice for the Raphael fight. That is going to be the Water Elemental, because the properties of the crowd control of the Water Elemental is a lot stronger. And a lot of the best way to deal with the Raphael fight is to piggyback off of the crowd control potential. Can I actually throw him off? Probably not, right? So I can actually throw him off. Question is, do I want to? I keep forgetting if he has anything of value. But I think I just want to kill him.
Let my enemies fall.
Now again, the option to throw him off becomes available, but I'm going to kill him because I forget he has any bit of loot, which he does actually. We're just going to pick them up, and a key. But let's just Let's just move on here. Here is the information that we need to get the contract. All right, let's just quickly. We're going to fight the observers now. So probably just getting the some more things with us. Is valuable. Do we have the? We do not have the mummy, so we're going to create a mummy from the corpse of Harlip here. And then I just want to say I cannot use these targets for reanimation. Maybe. Yeah. But it's only if they've been fried very hard by lightning or some such that they are now no longer available for this. Okay, we do have all the ghouls. We do have the elementals. I think doesn't matter a whole lot what we use for. Probably we'll just get the water elemental out already. Shields up. And this is in some shape or form slightly abusive, that you're able to use these volatile shields on a huge party, and you're able to restore all of your spells and everything, and you can just continue to do this over and over. This does have some kind of abusive potential, but right now we don't care too much. Do we care about this? No. Well, we could resummon. It's free. Okay. Let us head into it. Ah, wait 1 second. So I think the damage type that the beholders are using is. So I want to change Kareska's favor into. Oh, we're going to keep it as lightning, I think, and the fiendish resilience should be. I think it's psychic from the beams, if I remember correctly. The wounding ray. No, it's a different element. I actually forget about all of the elements. I'm just going to keep it this way. We are going to be using let's quickly see, paralyze, immunity here. Maybe even more resistance. Most of this is not going to be targetable spells anyway, so that doesn't matter too much. Critical immunity doesn't matter this particular thing, I think. Right. Alright, let's head out here.
I like to watch the door to the.
Okay, so now let's quickly see. I think this is where Maul's contract is. I think this is free to take. And then over here, Staff of Spell Power, also free. Let's just grab those. And And then
Time for a chat.
and then we head down to, I think, always forget. This is a strength check, so we will be equipping this one with a bit of this. Then I don't think we have the advantage on strength checks item, do we? No, it's not in our inventory. Let's open here. We can even add another bonus here for the roll, which I don't think maybe unnecessary. We head down to see if hope is present, and I forget if. Oh yeah.
The jail. You won't be able to save me when
You found my prison.
But where is your contract, you inglorious lump?
The sign of the jail. If he still has your contract when that happens. No, like I haven't.
Right. It is true that you have to go and destroy your own contract before you head into the fight here. Let's quickly check. Yeah, to the archive. Yeah, so we go into the archive and we deal with the archive. Let us head in there. So let's quickly see if we can go and perhaps steal the marble plate. If I send all of my coterie over here to the giant goddess of hill giant strength over here, and I let them stay here, he's going to be more interested in them than he is going to be in me, right? So he's going to be looking at that spot there. And so let's just quickly check if we want to make sure that we'll pass the check. So the smuggler ring and advantage from do I just not have that armor? There we go, the graceful cloth. Right.
They all see me coming.
So then we head in and we try to disarm the marble plate here. And grab the amulet.
One move ahead.
There we go. And then we take these back. I don't care about the gauntlets of hill giant strength. I don't need those. I could have used those for that other thing, but now we're just going to head in and initiate the whole bit.
It appears to be
So we're going to
protected by
talk,
an energy field of
and
some
then we're
kind.
going to
But
speak the magic words,
Your contract is with
and then everything is going to go to hell in a
this piece of humble part. Your blood.
and we destroy the point. There we go. And now there is action. So there's going to be a bit of combat, a bit of everything. And some of my ghouls apparently were not in that same position there, so they are not with us. But I will figure that out as I go. Oh, that is because that fight is just going to... Yeah, Yeah, that is the... Oh, and now my game crashed. Right, so now we're going to attempt for the second time to see if we cannot bring Raphael to justice. So what happened was that my game crashed during the last go here. So this means the video is attached to each other. It's stitched together. But it wasn't intentional. Computer simply shut down in the middle of a sequence. I have no idea what happened. But now we are back on track to kill Raphael. So let's go.
This piece of humble parchment contains your your blood.
You claim to be the moment you...
Right. So I'm just going to be
I've got good news. Come to my prison, bring that.
playing this a little bit carefully because I don't want to have my minions killed. And we have combat immediately. Oh, that was exactly what I wanted to avoid. if it cannot be any different, then the ghouls are a bit random anyway. Yeah, I wanted them to not be part of this, to be fair. Best thing I can hope for really is that they slip on the ice. Wonder if I can close the door. Probably not. Yeah, okay.
What have we here?
So I'm just gonna just going to keep my. I think the best, in my opinion, the most strategic thing, the way to deal with this is to just leave your stuff here and just go and clear the way to hope. Because I mean, Wyll is very agile, and the minions are a little bit in the way in this situation. They don't deal enough damage and blah blah blah. So. Pretty high attack. 4 from charisma, proficiency, tactician, high ground. Well, they hit and they knock back. So in the hope room where you have to free hope, is actually potentially a very dangerous fight. There are a couple of things that you can and cannot do there. Oh, that's going to get you in a lot of trouble. Which I'll be discussing once I get to the room. This hellish sphere, for instance, is not particularly dangerous, but it is hella annoying. I understand that this is maybe one of the more difficult things to work with, the doors. But honest to God, this is just so annoying. This is such an annoying bit in this game. You can see through the doors. You can tell that there's room enough to shoot through the doors. Like everything should work through the doors, and then and also another reason to not bring your minions is all this hellfire. Everything is going to be dead. I think I'm going to clear everything while I'm at it, honestly.
I found my mark.
Generally, everything that is a resource question, a question about conserving resources, how to spend resources and whatnot, suddenly it also becomes a question about saving resources and when is it necessary to do something and when isn't it necessary to do something. And in my opinion, in the instance of this, for instance, do I need the minions to help beat these random trash mobs? No, I don't. I just need them to survive until the Raphael fight, where it actually matters that we have additional things there. Although I have to say that the fight to help Hope is actually not completely redundant that the minions are there. So in that situation, I'm going to bring them, but I'm going to resummon them afterwards in the event that they die, and they most likely will, at least some of them. Particularly since the last update, patch 7, the spectators are now very, very dangerous. And in the Hope defense fight, they can get to you and they can do things to you, and you cannot. It's not very safe to go and fight. It's not very safe. Oh, I should have attacked. It's not very safe to go and fight everybody in the middle of the room, because the vengeful imps, as is displayed here, knock back you with the Eldritch Blast, so you can get knocked off and killed that way. Don't want to go there just yet, and we can bring the friends in. But I do want to go to the Boudoir. There's no reason on earth to not go to the Boudoir. And actually even if I resummon these guys, I think I'm going to do that. Let me just quickly check if I... Oh yeah, then we take damage. Great. I took damage. Fine. And also there's one of those famous places where you can actually die if you attempt to go. The thing is that the new, and this is a particular thing for patch 7, the spectators have an aura that does things to you when you get into range of that aura. And if you head into that aura, your character is going to immediately stop what it's doing. And if you're flying, for instance, the character is going to stop flying and fall down. And the very weird thing about the pathing in the room that we're going to get to in a moment, which I'm talking about now, but also will show, is that sometimes the pathing is going to lead you. Sometimes the pathing is going to lead you under into the room where hope is held, but not through the metal doors. Okay, I'm going to show it now. Right. So this is the antechamber, whatever. And so it seems a little bit like this is a rock, right? Sure, and we have some kind of void out here. If I attempt to jump, probably it will say death, right? Death. So that means we're not going to do that, of course. But it also means that this is void. This is supposedly void. Let me just open the door here.
It's time to fly this. You sound
Right. So this is a room where hope is being held. It has the spectator 1, spectator 2, and it has all the friends. And the friends, of course, do the Eldritch Blast, and they knock you down and you die. So fighting in here in this room is kinda dangerous, unless you get to the back of the room. But why would you do that? Because you have 2 spectators. And now with the patch 7 update, what happened is that what happens. Let's just quickly see. Right. Yeah. So the panicked sentinel, for whatever reason, is that the second that you get into their range, stuff is going to happen. So, for instance, when you want to go, let's just quickly see. Right. When you're outside of the room and you attempt to fly, and this is fine. This is fine. You see the path. And right here, we cannot see the path. So the only thing I can tell you is that if you cannot see the path, in this room at least, of where you're flying, but you can see that the action of flying there is fine, what I've experienced is that the character is not going to fly straight to the location. The character is going to fly around, down, and under the rock, and inside the room. And so if that happens, and let's say that there is a spectator placed here at the room, which is very likely that the spectators are going to swarm the door if you stay out here and try to lure them down, which is very likely what I'm going to do, because it's the more safe option, because this has actually become dangerous. Is that if your character then decides to fly below the rock, the spectator is actually going to catch you just below the rock. And I've experienced that going into that zone stops the flying, and you fall down and you die. So it's in my opinion not particularly funny, but like it's part of that whole problem. Anyway, let us go. And probably I just want to position my minions real quick. A lot of these guys, and also the observers or spectators are going to fly around and appear down here, so it's not even a hiding place. So for that reason, I need to kind of figure out. I cannot position my ghouls. That's a little bit impractical. So having all of these guys in here is not even a huge advantage, but I am going to position my ghouls so that they at least will not kill the other friends. And I position them around the doors because the imps will shoot and knock down. Alright.
Sharp as ever. Best foot forward.
Probably the ghouls are not going to be very, very effective for this. Oh, I can't even move them. Managing minions is not particularly a big ticket for me, big ticket item for me, but I do kind of want them, honestly. It is definitely an extreme advantage in this game to have minions with you, but controlling them oftentimes is very annoying, particularly when you need to position them. Okay, so I'm going to go in and just initiate the fight here. And I'm just going to keep some of the stuff on here. The paralyze, the ring of free action for the spectators is fine. Okay, let's go. I think we'll trigger the fight by killing this one up here, right? Or do we even want to go in here? Does need. Can't hit, can't. Whatever. Let's just trigger the fight.
Toning things down.
So, well, how does that work? Okay, so they cannot fly down to investigate. They cannot use their fly action to investigate. What on the earth is up here? Oh yeah, need to check that out after. Apparently there is something up here on the cracked rock. Okay, let's kill the next one then. This is maybe just too far. Is this something I can walk on? Yes. No. There we go. I'm just being careful because this This produces some bad memories for me.
Battle favors the fearless.
There we go. So immediately upon entry here, there is in this case, a wounded ray, and I forget if those rays are, if they can choose from the rays that they passed. So the new legendary power it stacks to 5, and once it stacks to 5, it casts the ocular nightmare, which is, I forget, it's all kinds of stuff that it throws at you there. So now I need to just reposition my minions here so they don't get blown up by the ghouls.
The blade will not bend.
The other one seems to be stuck up there, which we're happy about. Right. And so the Wyll's beam basically causes those paranoid dreams. So now the paranoid dream is going to probably okay, so the beam goes through. Oh, that was the. No, those were just regular attacks from the spectator, but it shot through the wall here. Thank you, Act 3. Just Act 3 problems. Act 3 things is how it goes. These are not attack rolls, but yeah, this probably is a redundant action at this point. So it flies down, and now Wyll gets beating.
Making my move.
I'm just playing this carefully, safely, because one of the problems is that if where is the last vengeful imp? It's up there. You never know what can happen. Well, there are two of them. Okay. So. So, look, they're already knocking me back, and like a couple of knockbacks, and you never know what can happen. And it just comes back, so you can't even knock it off the platform. That would be great. That's not a possibility. So now it stacks to 5. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah, it befuddles me because I wandered into its aura. So in my experience, it just casts one of a couple of things. So if it does befuddle when you come in and you try to imagine that the aura of the spectator is not only horizontal, it's also vertical. So it goes through the floor. If you fly down and you're befuddled, you fall down and die. That has happened to me. So I urge extreme caution in this case. So here we go. And so it's going to go ham on Wyll probably. Oh. Yeah. And so you don't want, you don't want to be in a situation where you're overwhelmed. Like 2 spectators, no matter how tough you are, 2 spectators are no joke. No joke. It does deplete my resources. This fight is perhaps in a relative sense one of the hardest fights of the game, if that makes sense. Of course, you have the very hard fights, and then you have the hard fights, which are fights that can. Most often they don't go wrong, and then you have before you have all those. I just need to go and clean up stuff. You have the kind of the fights that can actually be hard, and this is definitely one of them for sure. It's not hard, but it's definitely something where you can definitely die for sure. Do you want a zombie or a skeleton? I think you want a... This skeleton is practically worthless anyway for the Raphael fight. I'm being a little bit hesitant with the ghouls because the ghouls are kind of they can be kind of a hazard if you're not being very careful. So I need to position those very strategically in the Raphael fight. I'm going to have so many minions there that it's not even going to be funny, and I need to position those strategically.
Don't hold back.
Right, you look beautiful, Hope.
Blasted.
Let us go, baby. And so Hope is just, she is just absolutely fantastic in this fight. She's incredible, like the most incredible companion you can wish for. Just like a super ultra healer. Like, what more can you wish for, honestly? Alright, so we need to go back past the Boudoir for refreshments. I hope the stuff still works. And then we'll go into the positioning, which I'll debate, and then hopefully it's going to make sense. Yeah, I think that it is possible to refresh this actually. So that means, yeah, it works until Raphael dies, which already is ridiculous because that means you can just use it like up until that point. The only thing that I wish that she has had access to was level 6 spells, so we could get the heroic feast. I wouldn't mind the extra HP. HP is, this is one of the few encounters in my opinion where HP is actually just king. You just want HP. You want HP is the most important factor here almost. Armor is good, but HP is very, very important because it's, at this point you were going to resist everything anyway, or at least save against anything. But it's a real problem that in this fight it seems like everything is hitting you anyway, and it's just dealing massive damage. Let me just check if I have the correct favor. I need a short rest to enable the Koreska's favor. And I think actually the special bonus is important. The heat is not going to work for me anyway in this fight. The frost, cone of cold and ice storm, very nice. Lightning charges, extra lightning damage, chain lightning. Chain lightning is not very important here. Lightning bolt not very important. Thunder, reverberation, potentially. So probably I do need to go ahead and pop the short rest here before I head into the fight. Because I do need to change the favor here. It's not going to change unless I short rest. But let me just see that I've done everything else. I have my I have my shovel, I have my mummy, I have the elemental, water elemental, I have the zombie, I have the 4 ghouls. So all of that is primed and ready to go. And so I'm going to do a short rest here. and then activate Kreska's favor and change that to probably the ice version. Dark Winter. There we go. Ice Storm usable, Cone of Cold very valuable. And then I don't think there's anything else I need to do this point. Let's just head in there. This is probably one of the most resource draining fights in the game, though, and I do need to just go ahead and head down to the brain after this. Oh, this is the wrong way. Right, so because Raphael is not going to show up before I click the portal to the Devil's Fee, I'm just going to position my minions. And one of the things that I need to make sure, I think, is that my ghouls is not going to be anywhere. Hope is going to spawn with me right here, if I remember correctly. So she always spawns at the same location. No matter where I put her, she's going to respawn here. And obviously Hope is, you want to keep her up, you want to keep her alive. Hope has, doesn't show here. Last Hope begins combat under the effects of Death Ward. So she gets Death Ward when she, when the fight starts. One thing that I didn't do though is that I could have cast Mage Armor on all of my minions. I don't think that's going to be very important, to be honest. It is though. It is one thing that you can do with this follower. But now I'm going to position my minions, and then once I've positioned the minions, I am going to talk about what I am going to do here and what the combat is about and what kind of things I have available to me here. But let me just quickly position these guys, as that has to happen regardless. Just going to position the zombie here. What I'm doing is I'm going to position, let's see, Shovel. Shovel just wants to be in a corner, invisible, for now, because he can potentially stay out of combat if he doesn't get into the crossfire. Let me just see, where are the ghouls? Did some of the ghouls die? No, they're all there. One there. This one. Oh no. I'm going to go and get them.
Keeping pace.
They're just extremely confused. The pathing for the ghouls is horrible. It's just, the pathing is just off the charts bad. Anyway, the idea is to have, because Raphael has an array of abilities that sets off before, during, or during his special ascension power, or sometimes not in those ascension power. He just needs soul charges to use them. And is this ghoul just lost? Is this just stuck on the Boudoir, drinking away? Okay, I guess we're going to go into the fight with only 3 ghouls then. I think that's the least of my worries here. Let's get over there again then. And so if the AoE abilities that he does, I forget the name, but we'll see that in a moment. But I forget the name. But he has kind of it's a flame strike. It looks a little bit like a flame strike visual. Only deals fire damage, but a lot of similarities. I'm just not an expert at this. And that ability is going to potentially, it wants to target as many targets as possible. And one of the things that it wants to do is, if it can target the ghouls, it's going to target the ghouls. And it's going to target your other minions as well, obviously. But if the ghouls are standing close to each other, and even worse, close to you, and he targets the ghouls, kills them, they're going to explode for necrotic damage. And that's already a very, very, very bad thing for your action economy. Okay, let's try this again then. So I'm going to position some of my minions on the stairs, and the reason for this is that I know that some champions spawn right around here, and if they decide to go for, or sometimes Yurkia as well likes to use a concussive shot on the champions on the staircases, and if he does that, potentially the concussive shot that Yurkia does is going to hit my zombies and cause their volatile shield to explode, or my minions. And if the volatile shield explodes, it can stun the champions that are also around me. So that's going to buy me like a full round if that happens. It's going to be, those volatile shields are very, 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 very effective. So let me just position this again, and I'm splitting them out so he doesn't kill more than one target at a time, Raphael. All of his minions are only able to single target, so those minions will not be the issue in the beginning of the fight. And again, Shovel goes over here. For now, I mean, he can get in there, but it's not important right now. Let's see, we have the ghouls here and here and here, which is not a very ideal position. Like, if he kills them, he spends a turn doing that, then I don't care. Okay, so now we are practically ready to go. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to use, and let me just see, because I should have equipped the Darkfire shortbow. But where is, oh, it's here. Here is my haste spell. So that means I have a couple of haste spells available to me. And what I like to do, and shout out to Trade Secret for this, is that I like to haste Hope, because Hope has, and I'm just going to go over Hope real quick, because that's going to be pretty apparent in terms of what she's going to do. Hope is a level 10 cleric with a bunch of healing stuff that she can use. She has Blessed Healer, gives you extra healing spells, healing spell power when healing, so she heals a lot. She has Disciple of Life, which adds to healing as well. So she's already a very strong healer, and she's equipped with 2 spells in particular that's going to make things easier for you in this fight. One of them is the Revoke Guest Status, which is a banish spell that removes the champions. She cannot remove Yurgia, she cannot remove Raphael, but she can remove the champions, and she does this as a level 5 spell. And if you cast haste on Hope, she's going to be able to do that twice per round. And that's going to drastically decrease the amount of champions on the battlefield for the first 2 turns, and then they're practically all gone. Although I mean, I do need to focus a lot on the champions that are also present in the fight, which I'll be trying to AoE down. But the idea that Hope can do this puts her in a position where I actually prefer to make her the fast one and cast haste on her, rather than doing it the other way. Right, and then she has the Divine Intervention, which is going to restore her Revoke Guest Status, of course, her level 5 spell slots, and then she can do it again. But I'm not necessarily going to do that. It all depends on what happens during the fight. Another benefit to hasting somebody else is that in the event that, let's say I haste myself, in the event that I lose the concentration, which I don't plan on doing, but in the case that I lose concentration, she's going to be lethargic and not Wyll, which is very important. Lethargic is not the best way to go. But that's basically the gimmick with Hope. She also has Divine Strike, which she can use as a shot, and she can shoot the Pillar of Souls, causing them to be thwarted, which is not completely irrelevant in this fight. if you don't destroy the pillars, you can actually debuff them with radiant damage so that Raphael cannot benefit from them. And that's actually not a very bad idea to do if you don't have anything else better to do with her. So she's a lot more valuable than it seems at first glance. The preserve life healing is bizarrely good. It just heals you for a gazillion. Her level 3 spell slots and subsequently level 4 spell slots for mass healing word with all of her buffs. Crazy good. So lots of good stuff here. And I didn't actually buff her with the mage armor, but I think she has some kind of, with the AC 20, she has some kind of heavy armor on there. I don't know what's going on. She's a cleric, so probably yes. Okie dokie. Alright, so the fight. Raphael is going to spawn just beyond the portal here. Jurgir is going to spawn next to him. I made a deal with Jurgir, if I remember correctly, and so he's going to ally with me, and he's going to be a real nuisance for Raphael. Fighting this fight against Jurgir and Raphael, I don't think is particularly funny, because Jurgir is a very hard mob on its own, because he disappears on the regular. And so he does a lot of things. He likes to AoE the champions, all of Raphael's minions, and he does a lot of shenanigans. He's a fantastic friend to have in this fight, in my opinion. 3 champions are going to spawn, I think here, and here approximately, and likewise on the other side. I believe that there are 6 champions in the fight. Champions are 100 something hit points. They cast Ray of Fire the one time, I think, just once in the fight, and then they stab you. Maybe they do it slightly more, I forget, but we'll get back to that. And for that reason, because that's a fire spell that is resistible, I'm using the Dark Fire shortbow to negate the fire damage, or to resist it at least. And it's also based on armor class. So they're trying to hit you, which is why actually that I, instead of using the Cloak of Displacement, actually I'm using the Cloak of Protection for this, because I am going to lose the effect of the Cloak of Displacement very, very quickly, and that means that you just have, and they all of the champions are going to shoot Wyll. You cannot avoid that. That's just how it is. So in my opinion, having that particular cloak on is not particularly strong in this fight. You're better off with some other options. If you have another way of getting advantage, choose that. So the 3 champions here and the 3 champions here are going to be all in the initiative row, and will try to shoot Wyll with a ray of fire each, which is very annoying and deals a lot of damage to Wyll. Then we have Raphael here, who is going to, he has a lot of actions. I think he has, like, I don't know, 10, 12 actions, loads of different actions. And in his normal form, which is what he starts in, he has 666 HP, so a lot of HP. In his normal form, he's going to cast a type of Burning Hands, and he's going to, if I remember correctly, also shoot a type of Firebolt on his action. And those 2 actions on their own are not that dangerous, but the problem is that he also consumes souls from the pillars. All of these pillars are going to be activated. Right now they're deactivated, but they're going to be activated in a moment. And so when they're activated, when the fight starts and they're activated, they become a source of souls that Raphael can gather. And when he does this, consume souls, and he always does this on his turn if he doesn't currently have any charges left. When he consumes souls from these, he gains 1 charge from each of them, which I think he goes to some location, and that also matters because that's a way you can control him in the fight, because he moves, and then if the ground is frozen, then perhaps he falls down and gets prone, and he doesn't do his consume souls. So that's very, very valuable in this fight. But the consuming of souls gives him charges, and those charges are going to enable special actions, which are, I think one of them is the Flame Strike type. It's a little bit like Flame Strike, has the same range, and it doesn't do radiant damage, but it does a lot of fire damage. And then, of course, he ascends into his ascension being. And the next part of the fight explanation. Because what happens when he consumes souls from all 4 pillars is that he does not ascend, but he gets his charges. And for every pillar that is currently standing, he gains 1 charge. That means 4 charges from the get-go. And on top of that, as long as the charges, as long as the pillars are still standing, because you can actually destroy these, but as long as the pillars are still standing, he gains an obscene amount of bonus fire damage to every one of his spell damage or actions that deals fire damage. If I remember correctly, it's like 1d8 or something extra damage per pillar. So I think between 4 and 32 extra fire damage for each of his actions that deals fire damage. So that's so much fire damage. And so that's something you can survive in the beginning of the fight, but if you're not able to control him very heavily, that's going to really kill you. One way to get rid of the additional fire damage to his fire spells is by destroying the pillars. Now, when you're destroying the pillars, what happens is that when you destroy just the 1 pillar, he's going to go on the following turn. He's going to ascend into an ascended fiend, and I think actually I want to talk about the ascended fiend once it happens, because he becomes very strong. He still has his spell charges, but now suddenly the spells that he's using those charges for are obscenely strong. So I want to get back to the charge or the ascended spells once we get into that fight. A couple of ways to deal with this. 1, don't destroy the pillars. Wyll could, in principle, using the Callous Glow Ring, that does have a bit of a downside to it. Using radiant damage in this fight has a downside because Raphael will counter-attack with some sort of radiant retort, which is, it can stun you and stuff. It's a little bit potentially dangerous. But adding the Callous Glow Ring to your arsenal is going to enable, or any kind of radiant damage. The only reason I'm talking about this is because Wyll is an Eldritch Blaster, and so for that reason I can shoot 3 pillars in 1 turn, and shooting 3 pillars is going to thwart 3 pillars, and so obviously that's going to numb the pillars for Wyll can withstand exactly 3 shots, and they crumble. So if I can do this 3 rounds if I wanted to. If I knew that Raphael was going to consume souls and get charges, I could numb 3 of the pillars, and he wouldn't get charges, and he also gets healing. He wouldn't get healing from those 3 pillars. So that's definitely a potential option. I'm not going to use it first round because he's going to be at full HP and he can have his goddamn charges in the first round. I have better things to do with my actions in the first round anyway. But it is a way to kind of numb his ability to use his ascended power, or sorry, his healing and his charges, is by numbing the pillars with radiant damage to thwart them. And the other thing you can do is that you can also destroy the pillars. Once you destroy the pillars, you can also not destroy the pillars for the whole fight and then just kill him without destroying the pillars and just try to control him and, I don't know, cast Bone Chill or whatever on him to avoid his healing and do it that way. But I will do probably a mix of those things. But you can also destroy the pillars. And what I found is that he only ascends to his ascended fiend form once you destroy the first pillar. So if you destroy the first pillar and you then subsequently destroy 2 other pillars, there is some kind of, I'm not quite sure, but some kind of, I wouldn't call it a bug, but some kind of mechanic where he doesn't get the full benefit, because he doesn't immediately ascend into the fiend following he's only a fiend for a couple of rounds once he ascends. And so if you destroy the 2 other pillars while he's already ascended, he doesn't get the full benefit of whatever happens normally when you destroy a pillar. The worst thing in my experience that you can do is destroying the pillars one at a time. You want to kind of do some kind of shenanigans on that one. So every time you destroy a pillar, he normally gets more charges from that pillar. He can't consume them for health. He cannot consume them for more souls afterwards, but it does give him it does give him a couple of turns of being really, really, really scary. And so that's the one bit where he can really just completely blow your party to bits in that sequence, which is something you want to try to avoid. So the most safe thing probably is to let him have his goddamn pillars, try to control him, at least with the setup that I'm running here, with the assistance of all of the cold spells. But it is definitely something. I'll talk about it once I get into the fight as well. But bottom line is the pillars are something you need to think about them. You need to consider turn for turn, how do I deal with the pillars this turn? And sometimes maybe it's a good idea actually to destroy a pillar. Sometimes it's potentially a bad idea to destroy a pillar. But it's never absolutely a bad idea to destroy the pillar. It depends on the situation. But if you go for the one pillar, you want to destroy the other pillars as well. Oh, last reason why you want to destroy the pillars. And once it's over, it's over. If don't destroy all of the pillars, he becomes permanent ascended. But once the 3 pillars are destroyed, he's not going to ascend again. He has very limited power. He gets very limited. If you can get to a situation where you get 3 pillars down, 1 pillar up, he's almost harmless. The other reason why you potentially want to destroy the pillars is that Raphael has a very high armor class. So the pillars heal him if he consumes souls, and he does so if he needs charges. They give him added fire damage to his spells, which they do if they're just up in general. And the pillars give him added armor class. It gives him added dexterity. So, and that also means that with the pillars up, he has a high initiative most often. But it gives him, if I remember correctly, 3 dexterity per pillar. So that's a total of 12 dex, and subsequently a total of 6 armor class. So the amount of armor class that he gets will severely hamper your attempts to hit him. Like, some of your characters have no chance of hitting him. I think Hope has like 5% or 10% to hit with a holy bolt, or whatever that's called, guiding bolt. So just pay attention to that point, because that can be relevant if you cannot hit Raphael. And it's because of the pillars, you're in a lot of trouble, because that means you need to deal with the pillars, and that's problematic. So everything is now hard. Also, in this fight, this is a great case for the no consumables, because the way that Raphael kills you in this, well, you can use the noble stalks in many cases, but the way that Raphael kills you is that he deals tremendous amounts of damage every time he has his turn in his ascended form. It's like 100 damage. So the problem is that he could potentially one-shot you, or almost one-shot you in a round. So that's really the nuts and bolts of it. Right, let me go over my gear, and then I'm going to set the encounter up. Right, so I'll be using the Helldusk helmet from the House of Hope. The Helldusk helmet gives me critical strike immunity, which is very important to me, at least, because I'll be getting so many hits in the first round or two that in the worst case scenario I get below 60 HP or something. Raphael could potentially one-shot me in round 1 before I even have my turn. So I want to have critical strike immunity from the cambions, because with the amount of dice that's being rolled, some of them will be critical hits, so we can't have that. So that's the case for the Helldusk helmet in my particular situation, because I'm dual wielding. The Cloak of Protection is being used over the Cloak of Displacement, because the disadvantage is only lasts until I take damage, and I will take damage within the first round. For sure, so that's not going to work very well. Armor class always works, saving throws always work. Potent robe for extra damage from the charisma. The gloves of dexterity for initiative, obviously, and also for the armor class, very important for me. Bone spike boots are going to add to my. Let's just quickly see. Is this actually a medium armor? No, it's not. So. Yes. Evasive instinct. Evasive instinct. So 1 armor class, 1 saving throw from the bone spike boots. These boots are fantastic. I cannot recommend them enough. For the weapons, I'm using the Marco Heshkir. Yeah, one of the best items in the game, of course. And I've attuned it to frost, so that means I have the cone of cold and I have the ice storm that I can use for the fight here. And then I'll be using the Knife of the Under Mountain King as my main weapon, because the critical strike organ rearranger is just it just works. There are other options. I could be using the Infernal Rapier, but I won't. I think I want to use maybe I want to use this at a later time, honestly. And you need to be very careful with item powers during this last part of the game. If you want to keep your item powers, you cannot use them before it's absolutely necessary, and because it needs a long rest. And right now I have some long rest perma buffs that I don't want to lose, so that's not a thing. Knife of the Undermountain King, the Darkfire shortbow for the fire resistance, and the haste spell here. So I will probably be using the haste spell to. Oh, I need to consider that actually. Potentially, I do need to long rest before the brain, actually. I'll have to think about that, because the rapture buff is only going to be, it's also with saving throws. It works for everything, and maybe that's relevant for the brain, for the Netherbrain fight. So I'm actually a little bit unsure about how that mechanic really works, because not having haste or not having haste in the final fight is going to be very, very, very important. Do I need it? Do I not need it? And if I need it, I potentially need some kind of way to get that long rest back, and potentially that is going to be through the long rest here. We'll see. For now, the focus is Raphael, and I'll come back to the relevance of that bit. How important is the rapture buff for the final fight? That's a very big deal. For this fight, it's extremely nice. Got to say. Right. So, Ring of Protection, the Amulet of Greater Health from the House of Hope, obviously. And the reason I want this is because I want the HP, but I also want the absolute certainty that the chance for a double critical fail on the concentration saving throws is now a very, very slim chance. So keeping concentration of the spell obviously is absolutely necessary. The Callous Glow Ring, 2 points of radiant damage to things that are illuminated. That means everything in this room. And one of the great things about this, it does have a drawback, which we'll get to in a moment once we do the fight, but it does have the particular advantage here, like I said, that it can help destabilize the pillars once the fight starts. Okay, so I'm going to start the fight, and I'm probably going to run the dialogue relatively quickly through and get into the fight situation, so we can see the situation unfold. I think I'm just going to head in there without the short rest, so that means 0 mirror image, but that's not important either. I am going to haste hope now, and then we'll commit to the fight. Right. She's confused. There we go, Hope. And there we go. And immediately spawns next to me.
I will.
We're just mashing 1 here.
If you have any luck. No.
And down comes the claw. Alright, so here's the initiative. And he always goes, here's the situation. So like I said, what happened was that my zombie got hit by Yurgir. Yurgir shot the Vengeful Campions with his concussive shot, which knocks them back, or not. And but he definitely hit my zombie. The zombie is knocked back. The volatile shield explodes, and both of the champions get the stun, and that effectively buys me like a full round of no hassle from these two guys. And the last champion up here was not affected by it. Whether or not my zombie dies does not matter. And then we have 3 champions on the other side here. And now I have a turn order of, let's see, one champion, and this is great that I get the time to see this. One champion which is stunned, and another champion which is here. So that means 3 champions that are going to use Ray on Fire on me, all of them. And as you can see, if you look at the damage here, potentially that's 54 damage. Well, average is somewhere in the middle. But all of those 3 beams as critical hits without fire resistance would kill me in 1 round. When there are like, I don't know, 6 champions trying to shoot me. So I don't think I'm going to psionic backlash this. I'm just going to take the shots. They all want to shoot Wyll, and it just is what it is. And then they go for him here. So whether or not that 1 armor class does anything, I don't know. So what is he going to do? Oh, he's going to do something else here. Oh, he went for the zombie. Well, okay, fair enough. Right. Yes, this is what I wanted to see. Not that they're going to make that big of a difference. And now Raphael has his turn, so he's going to consume souls. And then probably he's going to spend one of those souls immediately. So he gets... Can't pause the game, unfortunately. So right, so this is the incinerate. This is the flame strike ability. So if we head into Raphael here, now he has 4 soul charges, which is 1 charge per pillar, and he also healed. And he also has his 27 AC, which is a product of the high dex, which comes from the pillars. So I don't know where we can actually see that. He has so much stuff. Is this something we can see if we go to a pillar potentially? No. I don't actually know where I can see that, but he gets I think it is like maybe it's only 2 decks per. Oh yeah. Down in your ability points come from 16 from shapeshifting, and then 3 per pillar. It's a proximity, so if you pull him out of the room and you kite him, that bonus disappears. But the +3 per pillar is a very hefty bonus and gives him a lot of armor class. So there's that. So now with his charges, he's going to cast Incinerate, which is a level 6 spell, meaning I cannot counterspell it, so it wouldn't matter if I tried. But I am going to psionic backlash him. So, alright, so now it becomes interesting. So what I'm going to spend my turn doing now is I'm going to try to piggyback off of the advantage of the minions here. So I'm going to try to see if I cannot prone these guys. And it doesn't work always, but it does work occasionally. And when it works, it works. Right, so Wyll... I mean, there are several things here. Hope is at the end here, and her job is to banish things with the haste and everything. So, but what I am going to do, Wyll's job at this point is going to be to black hole these MFs. So we're going to try to throw them into the ice here. And so every time that a target goes onto ice, it needs to make a roll to see if it fails or succeeds the save. And they have devilishly strong, but I'm actually not sure that it is a strength check. Yeah, I do need to go, unfortunately, over here to deal with these guys. So I do need to take the opportunity attack. I don't want to position myself so that he uses his... I can move back afterwards. I'm going to go here. Yeah, it is what it is. I don't like it. I just have to accept it. Also, the Fiendish Resilience Piercing is for this situation. Exactly. So I'm going to be using the ability here. And we'll see if we Did we manage to prone anything else? No, we didn't. Alright, so I'm going to move out of harm's way for now. So now the champion here has a turn. So the rays of fire are going to go off. Jumps. Right. And probably I just want to see if I can get the stun going here. They save. Whatever. Alright, so some of the champions you definitely are going to be killing. These two are going to be banished, but some of the champions are definitely going to be killed. And the reason I'm banishing these two is because I want things to be black holed. Let's just quickly see. Raphael is very hard to hit, but we can at least attempt to kill this one. And this is actually what I like. I have this. Oh, this is not what I like. The water elemental in there. So in this fight you can do, I mean, you can do things like I like to attempt to frighten these bosses because I find it to be in many cases a very strong mechanic. Raphael has access to practically doing anything everywhere all the time, so whether or not you frighten him at all is not very important. However, if you can get a mummy rod off on Raphael, that means like an attack from the mummy. If you can get that off on Raphael, you can prevent his healing from the pillars. That is potentially strong. So let's see. I'm going to attempt to frighten him anyway. He is still going to be able to hit everything. Okay, so the banish. The banish. And then we have a bonus action, which I'll just be using those spell slots because I need to use my Divine Intervention anywho. So healing my friends is obviously a very strong choice. And look at the healing there. 7, 3, and 3. Oh, healed self. Yeah, this is, oh my god, she's such a darling. Okay. And now, yeah, and then we have, of course, Jorgir, who's just so annoying. Right, so I'll be talking about once I have my turn, my action. Okay, once I have my next action, I'll be talking about the situation there. Already, I'm really a target here. Okay, somebody is stunned. Yeah, and then the invocation, and that's also a level 6 spell. So that means I'll be psionic backlashing that one. Yeah. So the little extra damage that you're dealing to him, it feels like it's redundant. He has 1 soul charge left, which means that he needs to spend his next turn also spending that soul charge. And then hopefully he needs to consume souls in the following turn, but probably not just now. Right, let's see if we can prone anybody. Right. Right. So now the party begins. So we're going to try to see if we cannot pull these guys in. Yes. And let us create the dance floor. So the dance floor is going to be around here, I think. Right. So something died, and Jorgir was exposed. That's not that important. But the steam cloud is from the explosion from the guys that was summoned by Raphael. So when they explode, they turn ice into water. So that's of course annoying, but we'll get through this. We'll get through this. And then I think I'll take a bit of a defensive position. I hadn't really thought about Jorgir, to be fair. I mean, it's not perfect. You want him in the fight, but you can also heal him. So there are ways to. We can just quickly check when we have the option to help him out. Right now it's almost Hope's turn, so that will be fine. Do I want to trigger? I can just trigger this. It's not a problem at this point because I have healing. So these guys will die. I don't need to worry about them, but I need to start killing these things. So probably here. And I need to check with the steam cloud. The steam cloud is everywhere right now. Hopefully I can get that to go away. So I'll just be continuing to trying to frighten Raphael. He does have his turn before Wyll, meaning that if he does if he uses his soul charge and extracts healing, he's going to heal for a lot. But we'll have to see how that goes. Right, and now we have hope. So what we're going to go for is, obviously I cannot heal the undead, but I can heal. I can actually heal the others, and I could immediately divine intervent and banish 2 more campions. But right now they're at so low HP that I think that I can probably deal with them in a better way. I'm a little bit annoyed that the steam cloud made my eyes disappear. One moment. I do have something I need to close. Made my eyes disappear, but we'll see. So let us get a little bit closer here. Just quickly want to see, what are we healing? We're healing us, and we're healing Yurgir, which we want to heal Yurgir. We want to keep him up. And then we'll be using the AoE heal here, because that will also heal Wyll. And then we want to spend the other preserve here as well on Yurgir. Yes, we do. Just want to get that out of the way. Spend those resources with her as quickly as you can, so you can divine intervent for full effect. See, and also the extra damage on, yeah, one of the went away. And so this is a very effective combination. You bring them together with the black hole, and Yurgir helps out with the AoE. This is just very, very effective. And that was, oh, that was my, yeah, that was my, okay. So I can resummon that from the item, I guess, if I want to do that. Right, so let's assume that the steam cloud is not going to just go away, and we need to create like an extra platform for this show. Raphael had his turn. Let's quickly see what he did. He didn't do anything. He didn't do anything. That's something that's very odd. Like, he did not do anything. Right, so the idea is to, yeah, probably I just want to see if I can stun things. Stun some things, but it wasn't that impressive. Let's get out of this just real quick. Right. So now I want to black hole. I still want to try to black hole these guys. Yeah, the steam cloud is preventing the fun. Right, but we are going to head down there for shenanigans. Yeah, so at this point, this is all my movement. This is a little bit impractical, but and we don't want to be right next to Hope and a Yurgir either. That's too much pressure. Because he is going to, well, okay, so here's the deal, right? I can do a couple of things here, actually. This is probably a situation where what I want to try is, I want to try out what the effect is of dumbing down the pillars. And this is, now things are getting weird. The Callous Glow Ring only deals radiant damage to targets that are illuminated. Okay? So now I'm going to quickly look at the pillars here. Very illuminated. Very illuminated. A little bit illuminated. And very illuminated. So in principle, this pillar over here should be a little bit. It looks illuminated, but it's not fully illuminated. But at some point, one of the pillars were not reacting to the radiant damage from the Callous Glow Ring. That means I need to get to a position where I can actually hit those pillars, which I think I can at this location. So it is going to put me in harm's way. but I think I will be okay. The great thing about... And I am going to shoot this to just check how that plays. Right. So we'll be looking at it now. Thwarted consumption. Raphael cannot consume a soul. And that should work for all of his... it shouldn't debuff his dexterity. That should be the same. Oh, the armor is also less. Oh, it's because he's slowed from the black hole. Yeah, sure. But other than that, it's the same. So this one is not thwarted. This one is thwarted. This one is thwarted. So that means that this pillar, because of whatever makes it illuminated or not illuminated, cannot be thwarted with the callous glow ring. That's good to know. So that means if you want to pick it back and use this attempt, you need to use these two and the one down here by the door, because this definitely works. So that's interesting. Let us see if we can avoid being blown to bits by Raphael this turn. I think they want to kill Yogya, which is pretty much to my advantage, as long as they don't kill him, of course. Alright, so is Raphael still frightened? No, he's not. So we'll attempt to re-frighten him, and the reason for this is I want to see if I can... Do I want to frighten him this turn? Sure. Right. And now Hope is back in the game here. She can heal everything with a bonus action. And then she has a main actions, which... Let's just quickly see the steam cloud. The steam cloud dissipated. So what we want to do is we want to shoot the water here. Why doesn't it work? Did Hope make the water disappear? Oh, it's just because the steam cloud just removes the water completely afterwards. Got it. So that means I should be shooting here. Yeah. I could have spent the action trying to shoot this pillar with a divine power, which would have been better. But let's just see what happens. And then he's invisible. Yeah. And then things are going to happen. Next turn, the champions are going to be dead. So that's that. That's the good news here. They're not going to survive the next round. That's so annoying. That bit is what I'm hating the most. All of that extra damage that these guys get to. Yeah. Flames of Avernus. So that's not a lot of damage. I don't even know if this is worth backlashing. It's a level 6 spell, so I am going to backlash this. He doesn't consume yet, but he's going to consume next turn, which is great, because at this point... Oh yes, let's just quickly check his legendary action. Raphael can spend a legendary action to immediately beguile 4 users remain this round, so that's not important. He doesn't have any charges. So he only has, you know, whatever he has as an absolute baseline, which means, I mean, he cannot even... He cannot even, he can't do much, actually, right now. So we're going to see if we can prone him. That's always a great way to start. And I gotta say, yeah, okay, that wasn't intentional, but actually having Yogya out is not bad. Having Hope at this low HP at this point is not something that I suggest. It's definitely not an advantage. Right, so we're going to pull them in on the ice. This, I think, is the last turn of the black hole. Let's make it count. Okay, and then we're going to use the, let's quickly find it, the free cast from the illithid powers to cast another Cone of Cold in there. And all of this is simply a strategy that I'm using to attempt to kind of optimize the resources I have available. So the fire damage that Wyll is taking there is the infernal retribution. And if I remember correctly, that's what happens when he does the radiant damage return, 2 fire damage returned, 200% of the radiant damage. So that's 2 radiant damage, and then the return minus fire resistance because the damage is returned in fire damage. But there's also some ability where he potentially stuns you, and like I forget because I don't see that ability anywhere in this fight right now. So I don't know if why that's not happening. So Raphael is now at 518 HP. He is going to collect souls in a moment, which is going to heal him and give him his charges. And I am going to allow him to do that. I think he can move. Potentially he's going to fall on the ice, which is always my hope. So let us quickly see. We can do one thing though. We can jump in here, which we will do. And then we can attempt the attack, which is very unlikely. Right, and now hope is up here. And at this point, I need to be sure that she doesn't die. And she is going to be killed by Raphael, I think, at this point, if I don't do something. So one of her actions is going to be the Divine Intervention, which is going to also restore some of Wyll's stuff. So I think we're going to do the bless here. Let me just, I want to be absolutely sure that I did my very, very best to make sure that the positioning is not bad here. I want people to be like outside of the range, so we don't fuck that bit up. Let us try the bless. We have 2 actions. Level 4. Bless, 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 and bless. Not bad. And then the Divine Intervention with the healing. No. We're just going to move here. It's not that important. I mean, Raphael can hit everything everywhere, so I mean, also a thing that you can do is that at this point, if you don't care much about, if you don't mind the damage that he's putting out from the charges, from the pillars, you can just make sure that he cannot heal during the turn where you know he's going to use his ability, which he's going to use it right now because he has no charges. No, don't do that. That's the wrong move here. Oh, Jurgir, you idiot. So what just happened was that Jurgir, yeah, he kills that one. That's fine. But what happened was he knocked Raphael out of the ice. And potentially Raphael could have tripped on the ice. So he heals from the 2 pillars, which I had not debuffed this turn, and that gives him, it gives him the full charges. It gives him charges from all of the pillars, but he does not get to heal from them. That's the thing. I think. I think. No, he healed from this, and no, because that one was not thwarted. That was the okay. Anywho, I think there's also something with the turn order that you need to observe. I'm not quite sure. So I'm just going to go and make sure that this doesn't happen again. What in the world? You just want as much ice as humanly possible all over the place where he likes to go. He likes to go to the top of the staircase to do his thing. Alright, let's try and pull him down here. And I don't know if that prones him. That prones him. So make sure you don't have the repelling blast on so you don't accidentally do something stupid. So do I actually want to, at this point, I want to do the best actions at this point damage-wise. So He doesn't have anything towards necrotic. No, he only has something towards poison. So the question is, I don't really want to do that. And how many charges does he have? He has this 4, so I just want to push a bit of damage into him, I think. Right now I have absolute control. Well, we're just going to shoot. That's interesting, right? I do a critical hit for 20 damage. And that's because I roll 8 on a total of yeah, that's because the damage modifier is added. I roll a total of 8 damage on the dice, on both dice together, and then there's the charisma bonus from all of my modifiers. And at this point I roll a 5. And so the difference between obviously a 5 and an 8 are not big. So if I had rolled like a 20, that would have been a remarkable difference in terms of the damage. I'm just going to keep my position here. And then probably I am going to frighten him. And let's quickly see, do we want to heal at this point? No, we don't want to heal at this point. Do we want to give Raphael a reminder? See, this is bad, right? We have 2 attacks. So, I mean, we could try to start to bring down the pillars, but I don't think I want to do that, honestly. This is a weird situation. I have no real good actions with her. So we're just going to shoot and see what happens. Oh wait, that was another action I didn't use, but she, at this point, her actions are not very strong. We do have the level 5 spell, so we can try to optimize protecting our coterie. Yeah, and apparently Raphael doesn't get his turn if he's prone, so that's extremely gimmicky. But I mean, it doesn't really guarantee anything in my experience. You can still get your ass whooped even if that's not the case. So he still has all of his charges. So as long as he doesn't. He's not using them, nothing really happens, right? So the psionic overload for the bonus action here, I think, at this point. And then I just think we're going to just shoot. And he beguiles me. And the beguilement is how many turns? Oh, it doesn't. It was resisted. Who cares? Alright, so he's not going to heal right now anyway, so we're actually going to let him move. No, wait, yeah, we are going to let him move, so I'm not going to activate the, I'm not going to attempt, I'm going to just jump in and probably fall prone, yes, but it's worth a try. So let's shoot. Anything I can heal, anything or anybody, everybody's at full HP. Yeah, this is the very odd situation here, I have to say. So the Ray of Frost slows him a little bit, but I don't know what difference it's going to make. I think he's out of concussive shots. Normally when you do the divine intervention, your gear also regains all of his slots for the concussive shot, which is a very, very strong attack. So it's definitely not something I mind. And then the incinerate, and is that 2 of his charges? I just want to check if he's discharged 2 charges. He spent 3 charges. How is that possible in 1 turn? Raphael cast Invocation of Debt. 1 soul to summon an eternal debtor. Incinerate is also 1 soul. No, this is 1 soul, as far as I remember. So how he lost one of his charges, I cannot say. This is what feels buggy about this fight. I'm not sure that I'm just going to save the game real quick in case it crashes. That would be not be something I want. Okay. So the question is, do I want this guy to explode at this point? Is he going to have his turn? No. We'll deal with him in the following turn. Where is Raphael? He's on the floor. Okay. Question is if I can't attack your charmer. Can I attack? Okay, nothing happens. Let's remove shovel by the way. Okay, so at this point I could kind of change the haste to me. I think that's the most sensible thing to do. It's going to cause hope to be lethargic, so probably we need to spend her actions before. And maybe I want to spend a turn destroying this data. Probably. Oh no. Oh, bonus action for healing, probably. It is going to remove the bless spell from Wyll, but we'll have to also not the bless spell for him because he has it innately. Okay, so it summons 2. Let me just check one thing though.
This is my time.
The rapture stays even if you cast something else. Okay, these 2 guys are annoying, and I don't know if I just want to spend a spell slot destroying them actually. No, this is probably a waste. Let's just get the show on the road here. So she's lethargic, and Wyll has his turn. Okay, that was lucky. That was very fortunate. And I do take the fire damage, and that causes me to do the saving throws and whatnot. And I do get the 18 armor class. The 18 temporary hit points. Oh, that's from killing these guys. That will reset in a moment once I get my turn back. Okay, so where do we want to go? Do we want to go all the way up here? It's not really important at this point. The only thing I can do is potentially stunning him. Try to stun him with my illithid powers to see if I cannot buy myself another round of security. And I don't really know, like, is this even necessary? I can go for his health instead. If that works. Didn't work. Let's just pass the turn here. You know, you try and it works or it doesn't work. It is what it is. Okay. So I can't move. Okay, hopefully Yorkia is going to move. It's not a lot of damage because Raphael is resistant to poison damage among other things, but it is something. So now the consume is going to go off. Oh, there is that was the mummy rod. So now the mummy rod is on him for 10 turns, and that's probably going to at least make the outcome of this fight where I just kill Raphael straight up without touching the pillars to be a very viable strategy, because he's not going to be able to heal, and the amount of damage that he's going to do every turn is going to be out-healed by hope. So already I think that's a win, but I still want to see if I somehow can make the excuse of destroying one of the pillars, just to see how that bit works. But let's see what happens. The save from the Winter's Breath. Right. So let's see. Does he have any charges? There's no charges left. So I don't need to do anything to the pillars this turn, because no matter what, he's still getting his charges, and he cannot heal. So I'm thinking, like, at least one of the things that I want to do is if I could convince him to move just a little bit and throw down the Dance Macabre, I could potentially cause necrotic damage to him as an action. Because if I try to shoot him, the odds that I miss are quite big. So this is slightly annoying. Let's try to shoot him once. Let's see how it goes. 2 hits. That's very satisfying. 2 hits. Very, very, very satisfying. That's a lot of damage. Okay. I think I really wanted to do the other thing. I wanted to destroy the pillars, but I just have to look at the facts right now. The key players are still alive. The water elemental is up, the hope is up, I'm up, Yorki is up, and Raphael is potentially 3 turns away from dying with pure damage. So at this point, I could kind of expect to see, unless, you know, I roll like horrendously and so at some point something happens, I could at least see that to relatively safely happen. Let's see. So York gets at full HP. Yeah, so he still does the thunder damage. Very, very crazy attack. No idea what that attack is, but it just works. So he's consuming. He's not. Yeah, so here's the thing. This is an example. So he's consuming his pillars. He's not getting any HP because he has the mummy rod on him. He gets his Punished Divinity. The Punished Divinity is the ability that maybe it just works the once, but the whole thing is that there is a potential potential to use. He can use a reaction to stun the character and leaving the impudent creature soul wrench. The soul wrench is something which is like one of the most insane abilities that Raphael has in his arsenal, and I don't know if we get to see it, but it's like a green light that comes from your body, like it goes upwards, and it's like it's an aura, but like it's more like a cloud of stuff, and you're stuck in the middle, right? It's a real shit show. So the Igniting Spark is a level 4 spell, which we will of course Psionic Backlash. A lot of damage. Like the potential for this spell is insane. So with all of it's 1d12 per pillar. So all of the pillars together is like 4d12 of extra fire damage on top of the 6d6. So the damage that the Raphael can push out in one turn must be the highest in the entire game. Alright, let's try and see if we can get him down on his ass. Nope. Where is the debtor? The debtor is just up there. I have no idea what the debtor is going to do, but we're going to leave it there. The best thing about the debtor is the opportunity attack that it affords. It affords Wyll. So I feel a little bit like I have the haste spell. I got 65% chance here. And then I cannot target him again. Yes, I can because I resisted. So let's see if he gets frozen by the encrusted with frost. Does he? No, and now it went away. I have no idea what it does, honestly. Let's quickly check. Succeeded a saving throw. It's a DC 12, so he basically needs to roll 7. He needs to roll a 5 or more to not be frozen from that ability. It's not a very strong ability. So let's just quickly try and see if we can't remove some of his armor. And I think even with the added, even if, and this is not because I don't want to destroy the pillars, like I really want to destroy these pillars, but the problem is, depending on the particular situation, the ascended form is so crazy strong that you might be shooting yourself in the foot, basically, by attempting it. Oh yeah, I could shoot. Could I shoot? We're just going to end the turn. I mean, this strategy is basically, I wasn't even as lucky as I would expect me to be with the proning of Raphael. Normally, I could see him getting proned like a lot. So I don't even feel like the full power of the frost field was really coming to its right in this particular fight. I feel actually a little bit like it didn't quite show itself, because the amount of frost spells that I cast and stuff, it was destroyed partly by the indebtors, the internal debtors that was summoned and subsequently exploded and created a steam cloud removing the ice, which was completely unintended. That was really not my intention at all. But I really expected that to be stronger. So with the amount of, I think, did I cast? Let me just check how many frost spells I actually casted. I cast 1 cone of cold from the Makoheshkia. I casted 1 cone of cold from the free cast. I cast the ice storm. That's 3 spells. Yeah, a lot of spells, right? So actually, probably I should just have used this to re-establish the freezing field. That would have been a better action for her. And so now I think there's only one thing left, and that is to kill the main man, the baddie. If I can actually hit him, of course. This, I would say, I wouldn't have been afraid of fighting Raphael also with broken pillars, but it is something that is intrinsically, in my opinion, I think I'm going to make another video where I talk about this specifically, I'm expecting to do boss fight videos on another character, but where I am going to go over the general strategies, of course, not for the origin characters, but just for a custom character. So that means you can do it with whatever. So no specific origin character shenanigans, where some of the origin characters bonuses are very strong, and that's something you just cannot neglect and cannot ignore. But I am going to make a specific video where I talk about the various boss fights in a more detailed manner. But that is going to happen later.
That any of us are alive. Maybe we're not.
Pinch yourself and check we're not dreaming the last of our lives as we die screaming.
So, in my opinion, the Raphael fight can be boiled down to the question of: are you able to pacify him? Because if you're able to pacify him with, any means, you can, if you can get like a Tasha's hideous laughter in with a high DC, you can pacify him for 10 turns. So in any situation where you can pacify Raphael, because he's definitely the most dangerous thing in this fight, even with all the campions. But if you can pacify Raphael, that removes like 50% at least of the danger in this fight. He does get his actions. If you destroy the pillars, he does get very strong actions. He does heal from the pillars. So anything that kind of shut down those abilities and those advantages will make the fight a lot easier. But I'm fairly certain that even with a character with like 0 summons or something, you can still do things that's going to make sense. I can't say for sure that all characters with my rule set at least will be able to do this fight. A lot of summons just, it just takes care of business for you. Because they are there, they do things, and they interact. Like my mummy turned out to be clutch. Yurgi, of course, and Hope were very helpful. I don't want to do the fight without them, to be honest. But although the most advantage I got from the other minions were probably the volatile shields exploding. So, I mean, whenever you want to remove some of those advantages, fewer summons, fewer volatile shields, fewer this and that, of course it gets more difficult. And if Raphael gets his way and just be able to target you, and all of the champions do the same thing, I mean, you're going to die. It's definitely a top 3 encounter for me in terms of difficulty in this game, even if it looked easy for anybody watching this time around.
Is defeated.
Then we're not just fine, we're spectacular. What a wonderful, jubilant, glorious day. But my poor sister, Corilla. It is not right that she died. And that makes me want to weep an ocean. She was an entire person before she ever made that choice. When we were children, she always kept the last piece of pastry for me and bloodied the nose of the bullies who pulled my hair. She was my sister. But as a wise woman once said, there's no point in crying over spilt blood. We must go on. And despite all the years I've lost, I have enough love in my heart to guide you home.
For the first time since you heard her voice, Hope seems calm, and the peace flows from her into you, soothing your very soul.
And go where? I don't think I quite know how to be anywhere else but here anymore. With a lick of paint and a thorough cleaning, this could be a lovely little house. And I can hardly leave. After all, who would ever want to think of hell without hope? I hope I'll see Corilla again one day, and that she'll say sorry, and I'll tell her she's forgiven. I hope I find all the pieces of my mind that fell out of my head over all those years, and that I'll be able to put myself back together again. I hope the echoes of pain will fade, and memories of sorrow will die, and that you'll visit me here someday. And I hope you have a happy ending of your own.
Right, let's just quickly check the reward here. Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's just, there are so many items in this game that makes me want to play the monk. It's yeah, and you get them at a point in the game where it doesn't really matter that much, right? Because what's left, like, oh, it's still pretty crazy. 1d10 of force damage and constitution. Jesus Christ. Soul catching. It's like, is that a reaction? Must be a reaction or something. I'm never going to know. Okay, so I think we're done here. What I don't know, let's see, Raphael should have some loot at least, right? He has the Helldusk armor, which we won't use, but it's worth money and stuff. Sent to camp. Oh, it's stealing. Okay then. Oh, he does have a diary. I do want to read that at some point. I don't think any of these guys have anything worth. Oh, they all have loot. Like, we don't need the gold, but Corella. What does she have? Report for Raphael. Okay. Interesting. Corella for sure is a very interesting person. I like the fact that you meet her in the Goblin camp at the beginning of the game. So she's one of the first characters that you have like some kind of relationship with, in terms of you see her, she does something for you, and it's a very important thing, right? Otherwise, Priestess God would have killed you. So that thing is important. Right, so we're just going to talk to Yurgia. Let's just quickly check. Gather your allies. Yurgia will lend us in the raids to trance to come. Good thing. And what else did? Oh, we didn't. We're not going to get help from Hope. That's true. But we do have a lot of allies that we can use in the going to the Netherbrain. Yeah, we defeated the devil. So that is good. So now the personal quest is over. Free Orpheus is going to be the thing. Blade of the Frontiers. I should speak with him in my camp. So it means that the personal quests are done. And it looks a little bit like Gortash. Gortash still wants to ally with me. I don't need to disable the Steel Watch in order to complete the other quest. So probably we're not going to do that. Even if it's either easy or whatever. So we are going to go for the Netherbrain. And that is going to be on the next episode. I do want to go and do one thing though before I leave the House of Hope. Seeing those very, very epic items always makes me want to use them, and a little bit sad that I can't. So I just want to go to the Boudoir real quick. What's that? Is that? Oh, that's Hope. Hope is hanging out. Okay, she's death warded, but she's confused. I wonder if you start to fight her there, what happens? That would be weird and funny at the same time, but probably she just dies. This is where you find those very, very, like if you run some kind of gambit where you benefit from an angelic potion, slumber potion, that's just crazy nice. So I want to see what happens if I click this. Forget it. Nothing happens. Okay, so that means we're ready to leave. Can we leave immediately? No, cannot return to camp. We're still in a threatened area. So let's just go to camp. Goodbye, House of Hope. Let's leave.
So you wormed your way into the devil's lair, risked mind, limb, and freedom, and destroyed the contract that bound you, the contract you never should have signed. You realized the error of your ways and corrected them. But you would do better not to err in the first place, especially when there is so much at stake. You saw for yourself what the Chosen are capable of. But did you also see their weakness? Yes, in a manner of speaking. It was their union that made them. They had an almost flawless plan to dominate Faerun, but their distrust is their undoing. We must not fall into the same trap. We must trust one another. Good. If we can count upon each other, then we may count one advantage in our favor. You may think yourself ingenious for having slain a devil, but you have merely ironed out a wrinkle. The Elderbrain will not be such an easy foe. It is time we resume our journey to find it.
Right. Just want to go to Helsing just to see, because one of the ways that you can get into the House of Hope without paying the 10,000 gold pieces, which of course are completely redundant for me. I mean, I don't need any of the gold for anything, is to give this NPC one of the items from the House of Hope.
I knew your Raphael's death. I'm impressed. Your coin is.
Let's just quickly see.
Welcome back, Devil Slayer.
Okay, there is no interesting interactions about the Gauntlets of Strength. Okay. Sad that some of these special items don't really work that well. Those spell-seeking gloves could potentially be interesting depending on what it is that you want to do.
Now you've seen what I have.
Okay, right, so I'm going to cut the video short here for now, and then once I get back I am going to be fighting the Netherbrain. That's going to be the thing that we still have left to do on Wyll before I would consider this to be a closed chapter for me and for my endeavors with Wyll, because then I need to work at something else. We've been acquainted for like, I don't know, the better part of a year. So let's just say that I want to finish this, even if, and as I've been very apparent about, that the run is technically invalid. I did die at Orin, as my earlier video suggests, and it was because of a surprise, because of a small mistake. So the last run that I did with Wyll also ended at Orin, and so this time I felt like, let me complete the game, because I think I can complete the game without any more deaths, and just at least prove that if you don't fuck up majorly in one of those like very tight situations, running through the game with Wyll as a solo monoclass warlock is definitely a possibility. That was the whole gimmick here, without consumables, of course. So I'm still going to go through with that. But he does have one death on the run. That's the reality of the situation, and that's also possible to find out on my YouTube channel. You can see that. But I am going to save the game now, and then I'm going to continue this at another point. Thank you for watching, as always.